Box score up for.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mark.
And I'm Rob.
And welcome to Mark and Rob's Sports Showdown. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? It's the playoffs. So anyway, hit that like and subscribe button. Hit the notification bell when you subscribe. And, feel free to watch our shorts also. We have a lot of shorts, and tell your family and friends. And we're going to have a lot of videos for you coming up as the playoffs go along. Today, we're going to start out with Caitlin Clark's second game, and we're going to get to the Minnesota-Denver blowout in a minute. Caitlin Clark had a second game. They got blown out, Indiana Fever. Not a real shocker. New York Liberty was in the finals last year, the second best record in the league. And they have three All-Stars. Actually, they have two former MVPs, one current MVP, Brandon Stewart, an MVP from 2001, Jacquel Jones. And they had Sabrina Ionescu, who was second team All-Pro last year, for the last 2 years, actually, and a great three-point shooter. So they weren't going to win that game. And they're playing again Saturday, where I'm going to the game, and they're not going to win that game either. But anyways, Caitlin Clark did not shoot well. She was 1 for 7 from threes, 2 for 8 overall. And she only had 9 points, but she had 7 rebounds and 6 assists, and her turnovers went in a block, and her turnovers went down to 3 from 10. So I thought that was a major improvement there. She needed to hit some threes, though, to have a good game. So I give her a C.
She needs to get, like I said, she improved on her assists and rebounds, which I thought she would get more of them. Finally, she's getting into the rebounds.
Yesterday's game was better, but the problem is that sometimes they wouldn't have her bring the ball up, and she'd kind of go off to the side to let the other person get a chance to run the team. And They didn't do well when they did that. They actually didn't do. They did better when she had the ball. They should just give her the ball and let her go, instead of just trying to share it in terms of that, because they got to get used to her running the show, because that's what's going to happen. Now, the point guard Wheeler, and she didn't play that well herself. But the shooting guard is coming off a sore ankle, Mitchell, who was their leading scorer last year. And she was 1 for 7, 1 for 3 in threes. So that didn't help any. I don't know how much the ankle's affecting her. But they missed some easy shots down below. And like Clark had 6 assists, she should have had more, because she passed it down below, and people missed easy. So, it's tough watching WNBA games sometimes when you're used to watching the NBA games, because they miss those easy shots up below. One player on their team comes off the bench, Fagbeneen. She had a nice steal and had the whole she had the whole court to herself when she done to do the layup. Nobody was right on her tail, and she missed the layup.
I've seen that.
That was like, oh my God. So that's what happened. But to give credit to Brianna Stewart, she had a great game. So she's an impressive player. I haven't seen her play a lot, but I've seen her play before. And she was 12 for 21, 1 for 3, and had 3 steals, 2 blocks, 4 assists, and 10 rebounds. She was just phenomenal. She completely dominated the game. And Jacquel Jones was being real physical with Aaliyah Boston. Aaliyah Boston wasn't taking it, and pushed her like this, and there was almost a double technical, but they didn't give a technical to either one of them.
Yeah.
But Aaliyah Boston, again, didn't shoot well. She was 5 for 15, but did have 7 rebounds. And Alyssa Smith, only had 5 points and 4 rebounds. She has to do more. And I don't think Boston's fast enough, like I said yesterday, but Smith is. And I think this other woman I'm talking about, Fagbeneen, I don't know how to pronounce her name. She's fast enough. She comes off the bench. She's skinny and like 6'4", but they're not getting enough stops.
The Fever is not there. They're still not a good team, despite with Clark. I mean, they still need a lot of room for improvement. I mean, I know we predicted them to be in the playoffs, but I don't know. The way this league is a lot tougher. Like I said, the women are 6'4", 6'5", and they're quick. They can move hands. They're athletic. So it is a big step up from some of the players, and they really have to. The Fever team has to kind of step up their how to play, and also Clark has to come along with that. So I don't know if you're right. Their schedule is kind of tough, but it's going to be tough every game because Clark has that bullseye on her. So
I didn't even go over the schedule yet, but they have 7 games in 12 days, and they have They played First they played the number 3 seed from last year, the number 2 seed, then the number 2 seed, then the number 3 seed from last year in their first 4 games. Then they have a couple games against under 500 teams, and then they play the Aces, the number 1 team. And so in their first 7 games, they have like 5 against the best 3 teams in the league. So they're going to struggle. They're going to lose all those games.
And when do they play that?
See.
And when do they play Phoenix, Mark? When do they play them?
June 30th.
I know.
And she plays Angel Reese June 1st.
Oh, okay.
And that got changed from a non-ESPN network to ESPN. They actually changed the network for rating purposes. And there's still no ratings for Angel Reese's first game, which I don't understand because Caitlin Clark's came out less than 24 hours later. So I don't have any comparison.
Do you think that Caitlin Clark's the ratings, if she keeps on losing, you think the ratings are going to go down, or you think they're going to stay the same?
They're going to keep losing for the first 7 games. And if she doesn't play well, of course it's going to go down. But we'll see how the ratings are tomorrow night when it's finally on a network channel. It's on ABC.
Right.
Tomorrow. So we'll find out what the ratings are. Perfect timing. I come back from the bus at 7:15. I can get home by 7:30, and the game's at 8.
Nice little turnaround there. That's good.
The game I guess it's going to be Dallas. The Dallas game is Dallas OKC game is Saturday night at 8.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight is your Knicks. We'll get to that in a second. I just want to say that the Clark lovers and haters said yesterday. I'll say it. They both got to chill. They're drawing so many conclusions. Lauren Jackson, I got a quote here from Lauren Jackson, was talking about Caitlin Clark, and she went through the same thing. She was the number 1 pick. She's from Australia, by the way. She's tall, but she's a different type of player. But she was skinny when she came into the league, and she said she had to deal with the physicality of it also, and it took her a while. Here's the quote from Lauren Jackson. 3-time MVP that played in WNBA. Caitlin Clark will be the next GOAT. She really is going to be one of the greats of the game. There's no doubt about it, and I don't think anyone would question that, although a lot of people do, because of the way she plays, the way she moves, and the way she sees the game. But it's going to take time. Some of the best players in that league, it's taken time for them to really develop their game, their strength and bodies, and understand the WNBA is a whole new level of physicality. And she goes on and talks about it more, and talks about only that Candace Parker was the only one that really came in and dominated right away. And she said some of Caitlin's passes, I watched some of the Indiana game today, and her passing is incredible. Her teammates weren't ready for them. That's not her fault. She's got great vision and knack for the ball, and this initiation is going to make her even better. So that's what she said. Anyway,
and also Sabrina Ionescu. Her and Caitlin Clark they're like pen pals. They keep in touch with each other. Sabrina has embraced her, and they talk constantly. So I mean, luckily, only a few. I don't think it's a mass where the players are against her. I think they, like you said, they wanted to succeed not because of them. Actually, not because of the.
Oh, some of them don't want. Some of them clearly don't want her to succeed.
Yeah, there's some,
because if she succeeds, she'll get even more publicity than she gets now, and they don't like the fact that she's getting the publicity.
Right, but then some of them are. There are. I mean, I'm glad they point out that some of them, like Sabrina, she's she's one of the.
Right.
She's important in WNBA. She's embraced her, and they talk all the time about it. So she can also school her on what happens when you're just coming into the league. So I think that's kind of good. That's a positive.
But the Clark lovers, they call them Swifties, the ones that are new basketball. I'm a Clark lover, but I'm not considered a Swiftie because I'm not a new basketball fan. I've watched them for 55 years. They want the coach fired again, all over the place. And there is some of the criticism is valid. It's like Caitlin Clark hasn't had an open shot in 2 games.
Well, that's
because there's so much attention to her, and then they're not running the offense properly. But Caitlin Clark is a unique individual, and it takes a while for the coach to integrate her into the system, especially when her starting point guard isn't even starting right now, and she's not healthy. And it's going to take a while to figure out. But, some of the players like Leah Boston, because she knows Caitlin Clark, comes and sets up a pick and screen on the top. But Alyssa Smith doesn't do that, and she needs to do it.
Right. That's what I mean. Set some screens. Set some screen and rolls, or like I said, start her down on the block, set a down screen, And then with her, she's got to stop standing outside when she passes the ball, cut through, go to the other side, or move around. So yeah, I mean it's still a growing period, but I kind of feel like I don't know what kind of offense the coach is running. She's got to, if you got a good player like a great player like that, you got to find a way to get her open, get her more open shots.
All right, she doesn't get any. She had some semi-open looks that she would normally hit, and she didn't hit them yesterday, so that's on her. So I don't want to say it's
I mean, she makes one pass, and of course the person guarding just stands on her and denies her the ball, and then Caitlin doesn't move through. But so I mean, you got to get some more movement.
Right, and when she drove to the basket, both times she drove to the basket, there was two people there to meet her.
Yeah,
two 6'4" people there, women to meet her.
They're like, "Hello."
They're not giving her anything. There's not. No. She's not even getting close to a shot near the near the basket. So, anyways, that's all I have to say about that. Except just let's just wait and see how she plays after 10, 20, 40 games instead of 2 games, because I think she made great strides in not turning it over this time and getting more passes and even more rebounds. She got 0 rebounds last game. She got 7. I don't know. I'm not sure why there was such a huge difference. But everyone just has to chill. And
so are you going to take pictures or maybe this a little video while you're up there?
I wasn't planning on it, but I'm not really that type of person.
I mean, you got to take I'm sure there's a big Caitlin Clark poster.
But also, I'm going to send out a 10-year-old girl to get an autograph for me.
There you go.
I'm just kidding. I don't believe in autographs. Last autograph I got was 14, and it was a wrestler named Dan Gable, who we talked about in a previous video. So anyway, last night, as I predicted, Minnesota won. Rob wouldn't predict when I asked him who was going to win, so he doesn't get credit for predicting it right.
I did too predict.
No, you went back and forth. It's on tape, Rob. It's on tape. I guess who was like a minute later, you still hadn't picked a team. So I went on to the next.
I said Denver. I do believe, go back to the tape, I said Denver.
Okay. He wouldn't predict. And then I picked Denver because I said they're not going to lose 4 straight and Minnesota's at home. And they're going to make adjustments, which they did. But the key was their defense was better. It was closer to the first and the second game, which I don't know why they can't get up for the last 3 games, but they did. They really got up there. And I don't know why Jokic didn't do any of the things that he did the game before, which is he basically went 1-on-1 with Rudy Gobert. He didn't do any of that in the game. I don't know why.
Well, maybe because Gobert, he adjusted. Well, you know why he adjusted. He's not going to let him score like that every game. So he's going to adjust his game. And
he wasn't always double teamed. He had chances to do that. He didn't do it.
I mean, he forced him. I saw a couple of shots where he had him down low, and Gobert just forced him to make some kind of awkward over-the-head shots. So, I mean, he changed his defense on him. That's what happened.
He also took a lot fewer shots like that. So, but I don't think that's going to happen in Game 7. I think he's going to go back to what he did in the third quarter of Game.
Now here's something. Here's something I don't know if you noticed. So, Denver took the 9-2 lead, and then Minnesota called a timeout. During that commercial, they showed a preview of Game 7 of Minnesota-Denver. I'm like, why are they showing a commercial promoting Game 7? How do they know it's going to be a Game 7? I mean, underneath afterwards it said if necessary, but still I'm going, why are they running this commercial? I'm like,
because they only have so many opportunities to promote that game because there's only there are every 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, but I was like, do you know something I don't know?
No, I think I've seen them do that in the past for like the last 30 years where they go if necessary and they promote it. So there will be a Game 7 on Sunday, and there's not a time for the game yet. The Knicks game, if necessary, for Game 7 will be at 3:30. They haven't chosen a time for the Denver game. I don't know why. I guess it depends on whether the Knicks have a Game 7. I guess it might be at 3:30 if the Knicks don't play, and it might be at night at 8 o'clock if the Knicks do play. But they haven't chosen a time yet. It's 8 o'clock. On the games are on Friday and Saturday night. Tonight's game is at 8:30, right? Next game is at 8:30, and tomorrow night Dallas and OKC is at 8 o'clock for those. But anyways, let's talk about the game and who did well. And I know that Anthony Edwards again had a great game.
Yeah,
and he was playing with a smile on his face, and of course Jamal Murray did not. And Anthony Edwards was huge in the game. He was he was 18 for 17, 4 for 9 from threes, had 4 rebounds and 4 assists and 3 steals. He's playing defense again.
Mm-hmm.
And Conley played well for someone who was coming off an injury. He was 5 for 9 and 13 points, 3 for 6 from threes. And it made a huge difference in Anthony Edwards' games. And
yeah, well, that was the factor of the game, because last game Edwards was bringing the ball up and they double teamed him, so it kind of put a lot more pressure on him. So that with Conley as a point guard, it kind of freed up Edwards a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think they can win without Conley in Game 7. So I hope Conley didn't get re-injured or anything like that.
No, he was fine.
There's no indication to me they did. But anyways, Anthony Edwards to me and the defense was the key to that game. And whatever adjustments they made defensively besides double teaming Jokic, because they must have made some other adjustments, because it was stark in terms of the difference in what they did in the other games. And some of it was energy. But, McDaniels had a good game. He was 8 for 10 and had 21 points. So he really contributed. So
it was interesting, because when they were interviewing the head coach who has a patellar tendon injury, which I've had, so I know how he feels. It's hard for him. He says he's essentially sitting behind the bench, and so for him to convey like switching defenses and calling maybe a certain plays and stuff, is kind of hard for him to relay it quick enough to his assistant. So he was talking about that.
Right. Gobert and Towns. Gobert had 14 and Towns had 13 rebounds, and Minnesota had 62 rebounds and Denver only had 43. Well, you're not going to win a game, an away game, especially where you get out rebounded by 19 rebounds. So that was the other big key and that, a lot of that is effort. Yeah, I know it's blocking out and who's not blocked out and who is blocked out and all that. But a lot of that is effort and as rebounds. And like I said, Minnesota had more effort than Denver. Denver didn't.
Well, after that timeout, at the beginning, it looked like Denver was on a roll and getting ready to blow them out. They scored 9 straight points. And then Minnesota called a timeout and they scored like 15 or 17
They scored
straight
27 out of 29 points. It was 27-2 run. And
Yeah,
it was kind of over with at that point, the game.
Yeah.
The away game, I think it was kind of over with it. But, Denver hung around for a while and they came back a little bit. But you never felt like the game was in doubt. But I watched it until the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth. And they waved the white flag. So, anyways, Game 7, I am picking Denver, of course, because I have them in 7.
You have
I had them in 7 from the original thing.
Yeah, I know. That's why I know.
So I'm picking
Okay,
Denver.
I got Denver winning because they're at home.
You had Denver originally in what? In 7 or 6? You had them in 6, I guess, originally, right?
Yeah, I had them in 6.
All right. So we'll see if Denver wins, and we're going to see who they're going to play. All right. So we got a game Saturday night. It's going to be OKC at Dallas for Game 6. Originally, I thought OKC was going to win the series. Rob has OKC going all the way to the finals, losing to his Knicks. I have them winning this series, but I don't think so anymore. They lost the first game, and then they got outplayed the last 4, even though they won the game 2 games ago. And I think Dallas has figured out OKC, and they have a lot of confidence right now. And I think that they're going to close it out in Dallas tomorrow night. What do you think, Rob?
I think OKC is going to come back. Like you said, they're a young team, but some players didn't show up. I mean, I think the coach made a mistake not starting Giddey. He came off the bench, and then when he came off, he in 10 minutes.
That did not work.
Yeah, so I think he's going to be like, I think I better change it back to the way it was. So I think they'll make the adjustments, and now they will win tomorrow night.
Yeah, originally I predict OKC to lose to Denver in the Western Conference Finals, but I don't see that right now. I think even though Doncic is injured, he supposedly has 2 sore knees, a back, and an ankle. He's playing really well. Yeah, and the bottom line is just OKC has not come up big. SGA is playing well, but the rest of the players aren't really stepping up. And their defense has not been as good since Game 1. So.
Yeah, so we'll see. OKC, a lot of players never been in the playoffs, so that kind of might be a factor. But now this is Game 6, so that that kind of excuse is gone. You've played 6 games already, so it's time for them to step up.
We'll see. We'll see if they do. All right, that's it for today. Don't forget.
Excuse me, you didn't talk about the next. Excuse me, you didn't talk about tonight's game, Knicks and.
Well, we talked about that yesterday, but we can talk about Knicks. You think the Knicks are going to win? We know that.
Nice try. We try to slip that by me. Nice try.
I've getting complaints with comments like have Rob stop talking about the Knicks so much. They say.
I don't think so. I didn't see those comments.
Enjoy the games. I'm going to enjoy going to New York tomorrow to see Caitlin Clark in person. I hope she has at least a mediocre game. I don't have a lot of confidence she's going to have a great game against that New York team, but especially with their offense seems very confused right now.
Yeah.
And they don't get enough stops for her to run a fast break. So we'll find out what happens. But she needs to shoot better, and at least she got rid of the turnovers so much. But she made some really nice passes yesterday. I'll say that. So anyways, please, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do that and hit the notification bell when you do. So you find out about our next video, which will be on Sunday. And then, like and subscribe. Feel free to make comments as long as they're not insulting and they're intelligent comments. We like those best. Yeah. And anyways, take care. I'll talk to you on Sunday.
All right. Peace out.